This is a little video tutorial for brioche knitters who are knitting Eastern Uncrossed style. In Eastern Uncrossed style, the left leg of our stitches is on the front of the needle instead of the right, and the yarn overs are made from the back over this way to the front, and knitting also happens that way too. So I'm going to just make a couple of brioche knit stitches and then get into an increase and a left leaning decrease and a right leaning decrease. So when I'm knitting Eastern Uncrossed, I'm going to slip a stitch, then give it its yarn over, and not the western direction, but this is the eastern direction. And then here is my brioche knit. I'm going in, taking the yarn over this way and bringing that up. The yarn's in the back, so I can slip. I'm going to slip it that way, it's easier for me. And yarn over, and here is my brioche knit again. All right, if I want to make an increase, here's my slip yarn over. I am going to brioche knit, yarn over, brioche knit, all in the next stitch. So here's my first brioche knit, but I'm not going to take it off my left needle. Then yarn over and go back in the same stitch and brioche knit one more time. And now I have 3 stitches where I used to have 1. We always make our increases and decreases by 2 or a multiple of 2 so that we can keep our knit purl rhythm. When I work my next round and I'm working the brioche purl round, this will be a brioche purl and a slip yarn over and a brioche purl, slip yarn over. This little baby stitch in here is a baby purl. I'm just going to purl it, slip yarn over, then the next one will be a brioche purl. So that's the only difference on the next round, which is a brioche purl round. It's going to have a little regular purl, baby purl, above those increases. All right, so slip, yarn over. I'm going to make one more increase just so you can see it again. I go in, brioche knit, don't take it off the left needle, yarn over, brioche knit one more time. Yarn's in back, and I'm going to slip and yarn over. Now let's look at a left leaning decrease. So this will be a double decrease because we have to decrease by 2 or a multiple of 2. I'm going to work it over these next 3 stitches. So the first and last ones are brioche stitches, and there's that purl in the middle that will get slipped. So if I want a left leaning decrease, this first stitch is going to lean over a single decrease of these 2 stitches. So this will be a right leaning decrease that tucks under this left leaner. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to slip that first stitch without changing the stitch mount. So the left leg is still in front. Now I'm going to slip knit. And when I do that, I'm going to change the stitch mount of these next 2 stitches. So I'm slipping it to make the right leg in front and the right leg in front. And then I'm going to slip those 2 stitches back to the left needle. Now I'm going to knit 2 together all the way from back here and wrapping it in that eastern direction. So I've just decreased, and see there's no twist here. And then I'm going to take that first stitch and pass it over and off. And there is my left leaning decrease. I've taken these 3 stitches and now I just have 1. I'm going to do one more of those. So here's a slip and the yarn over. Here are my 3 stitches that are going to make my left leaning decrease. I'm going to slip the first stitch without changing its stitch mount. And then I'm going to slip the next 2 stitches to the right needle, but change the stitch mount so the right leg's in front. And now I'm going to knit 2 together, coming back from here. Here's my stitch. So that's the first part of the decrease. And then I'm going to take that first stitch and its yarn over, pass it over and off. And that little guy's supposed to be underneath, and it is. So there is another left leaning decrease. Let me show you the right leaning decrease. Whoop, can't yarn over yet. First I have to slip this stitch, Then comes the yarn over. For a right leaning decrease, I'm going to use 3 stitches, and this stitch is going to lean over a left leaning decrease made with the first 2 stitches. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to first do, let's see, knit 2 together through the back loop. So they're already facing the way I want them to face, so I'm just going to take my right needle and put it through that first stitch and its yarn over, and then the second one, and that one, it's a little bit snug on the needle, so if I want to, I can move those over first and then poke into that one. Oh, look, it's split. Okay. And then put all of that back, and then I'm just going to knit them all off together. So that makes that into a little left-leaning decrease. And then, because I want this one to lie over that, to lean to the right, I have to change the stitch mount here so it doesn't look twisted when it's done. So I've changed the stitch mount. I'm putting that first decrease over here, and then I pass that third stitch over and off and put the finished stitch on the right needle and give it a little tug to snug it up. There's my right leaning decrease. I have these 3 stitches, which are now just 1 stitch. It's a double decrease. One more time, just so you remember. Oops, nope, yarn can't go yet. So I slip that stitch, left leg still in the front. There's my yarn over, that left leg is also in the front. Here comes my decrease. It's over these 3 stitches, and it begins with knit 2 together through the back loop. And again, I'm a little snug there. Oh, I made it in just fine. Okay, so I have 3 loops here, the first stitch with its yarn over, and then the second stitch. And it goes this way. So there's my first decrease, and I want to pass this one over, but before I can, I'm going to change the stitch mount so it won't be twisted on top. Now I put that first decrease over on the left needle, pass that third stitch over and off, put the finished stitch on the right needle, give it a little tug. Right leaning decrease. There you have it. Hope that helps.